Get away from her, I screamed. I stood frozen in my son's guest room doorway, laundry basket in my hand. My husband Franklin had Callie, my daughter-in-law, pinned against the wall, kissing her deeply, his hands gripping her waist. The mother of my 2 grandchildren. The basket slipped from my fingers and crashed on the hardwood floor. They broke apart. Franklin's eyes went wide with panic. I slapped him with everything I had. You're disgusting, both of you. I shouted, my chest seized. I couldn't breathe. The room tilted sideways. I collapsed, hitting the floor hard. Before I tell you what happened next, hit that subscribe button right now, because what I discovered about my husband made this affair look like nothing. The betrayal went deeper than I ever imagined. Let me ask you something. If you caught your spouse with your own child's husband or wife, would you tell your child immediately or gather evidence first? Comment below, because my decision changed everything. Let me tell you how we got here. My name is Simone Hayes, and for 37 years, I thought I knew exactly who I was and what my life meant. I was a wife, a mother, a grandmother, an ER nurse who saved lives while believing my family was safe and whole. I was so wrong. I'd been telling myself lies for years. I wrapped around the truth like bandages covering a wound that never healed. 37 years ago, I married Franklin Hayes, my college sweetheart. We met in a campus coffee shop where I was cramming for my anatomy final, and he was working on his economics thesis. He made me laugh that day. He bought me coffee and stayed until I finished studying. He made me believe in forever. He became a respected financial advisor, the kind of man people trusted with their retirement savings, their children's college funds, their entire futures. I worked as an ER nurse, pulling double shifts, saving lives, coming home exhausted but fulfilled. We built everything together. The house with the wraparound porch in the suburbs, the life that looked perfect from the outside, the family that everyone envied. 2 kids. Elijah, 32, a brilliant software engineer who inherited his father's analytical mind and, thank God, my capacity for empathy. And Bryn, 30 years old, a doctor in London, following in my footsteps but going further than I ever dreamed. We were the family other families wanted to be. 37 years of marriage, still holding hands at neighborhood barbecues, still finishing each other's sentences at dinner parties. Or so everyone thought. 4 years ago, Elijah brought Callie Clark home for dinner. I remember that night vividly. She wore a navy blue dress that cost more than my monthly salary. Corporate lawyer, ambitious, polished, with a smile that was just a little too perfect. Franklin couldn't stop praising her from the moment she walked through our door. This is exactly the kind of woman successful men need, he'd said that night, squeezing my hand across the table while his eyes stayed locked on her. Driven. Smart. She'll push Elijah to be better. To achieve more. I should have heard the insult hidden in that compliment. I should have noticed how he said, successful men, while looking at her instead of me. They married quickly, within 8 months. Everyone said it was fast, but I defended them. I thought it was romantic. Young love. The kind of passion Franklin and I used to have before life and bills and routine wore it down to comfortable familiarity. The wedding was beautiful. Callie in white lace, Elijah in his tuxedo looking happier than I'd ever seen him. Franklin gave a toast about how proud he was to welcome such an accomplished woman into our family. I cried happy tears. What a fool I was. 2 years ago, Callie gave birth to my grandson Oliver. I was there in the delivery room, holding her hand, wiping her forehead, telling her she was doing great. I cried tears of joy when I heard his first cry. My first grandchild. I thought we were building something beautiful together. Last year, my granddaughter Emma was born. Another perfect, beautiful baby with Callie's dark hair and Elijah's gentle eyes. I held her minutes after she came into the world. I was a devoted grandmother, babysitting twice a week, hosting Sunday dinners, watching my family grow, and thinking this was everything I ever wanted. But here's what I hadn't told anyone. What I barely admitted to myself in those dark 3 a.m. moments when sleep wouldn't come and fear crept in. I knew something was wrong 18 months ago when I saw how Franklin looked at Callie at Emma's baptism. Not like a father-in-law looking at his son's wife. Like a man who wanted something he shouldn't have. Like a predator circling prey. I saw his hand on her lower back during the family photos, lingering too long, his fingers spread wide. I saw the way they'd disappear together during family gatherings. Always an excuse. Always innocent sounding. We're just grabbing more ice from the garage. Callie's showing me something on her phone about investments. We're discussing Elijah's birthday surprise. Always an explanation that made me feel paranoid for questioning. 1 year ago, I found a receipt for the Riverside Hotel in Franklin's jacket pocket. I was taking his suits to the dry cleaner, being the good wife, when it fell onto our bedroom floor. Room 412. Champagne. 2 glasses. A Tuesday afternoon when he'd told me he was meeting with clients. We hadn't been there together. We hadn't been anywhere together in months. I stood in our bedroom holding that receipt, my hands shaking, my heart knowing what my mind refused to accept. I told myself it was a business meeting. Maybe he was impressing an important client. Maybe the client brought a wife. Maybe. I put the receipt back in his pocket and never mentioned it. 9 months ago, I noticed a charge for Cartier on our credit card. $12,000. My heart stopped when I saw it. I waited, checked the mail every day for a jewelry box with my name on it. Our anniversary was coming up. He must be planning something special after all these years. I never received jewelry. The anniversary came and went with a grocery store bouquet and a distracted kiss on my forehead while he checked his phone. I told myself he was planning a surprise for Christmas, or my birthday, or maybe he'd returned it. I knew I was lying to myself even as I thought it. 6 months ago, I came to Elijah's house to drop off groceries because Callie had mentioned she was too busy with the kids to shop. I found Franklin's car in the driveway. It was 2 p.m. on a Thursday. Elijah was at work. I just saw him on my way over. The kids were at daycare. I knew the schedule because I was the one who picked them up twice a week. Franklin came downstairs when he heard me in the kitchen. He didn't look surprised or guilty. He looked annoyed that I was there. "What are you doing here?" I asked. Callie called, said the kitchen sink was acting up. I stopped by to fix it. He kissed my cheek and I smelled perfume on his collar. Not my perfume. Something younger, more expensive, floral, with an undertone of vanilla. "Where is she?" "She ran to the store, said she'd be right back." The lie sat between us. I knew the sink worked fine. I had used it that morning when I was here watching the kids. I found text message notifications he quickly deleted. I walk into a room and his phone would disappear into his pocket, screen going dark, secrets locked away. I saw the mysterious helping Elijah with house projects on his calendar. Every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon. Always when Elijah was at work. Always when I was scheduled to be somewhere else. I noticed how he always volunteered to babysit alone with Callie. "You deserve a break, Simone. You work so hard." "I'll handle it," he'd say, like he was being thoughtful. Like he was doing me a favor while he destroyed our family. I knew. God help me, I knew. The signs were everywhere, screaming at me, but I kept my eyes closed. I kept pretending. Because admitting the truth meant destroying my son's marriage. It meant destroying my grandchildren's family. It meant little Oliver and Emma would grow up in a broken home, shuttling between parents, confused and hurt because of something I exposed. So I became an expert at not seeing what was right in front of me. I perfected the art of denial. I smiled when I wanted to scream. I hosted Sunday dinners and watched them sit across from each other, exchanging glances they thought no one noticed. I babysat my grandchildren, while their mother was upstairs with my husband, pretending everything was normal. I played with Oliver and read him stories while trying not to think about what was happening in the rooms above us. I rocked Emma to sleep while my marriage died around me. Until today, when Elijah called and asked me to come watch the kids. "Callie's not feeling well and I have a meeting I can't miss. Can you come over, Mom?" When I walked in with the laundry, I'd offered to do it for Callie because she seemed so stressed lately, so overwhelmed. "Let me help you," I'd said just yesterday. "You're doing so much. Let me take some of the load." When I went upstairs with that basket of clean, folded clothes, I stood frozen in my son's guest room doorway, laundry basket in my hand. My husband Franklin had Callie, my daughter-in-law, pinned against the wall, kissing her deeply, his hands gripping her waist. The mother of my 2 grandchildren. "Get away from her," I screamed. The basket slipped from my fingers and crashed on the hardwood floor. They broke apart. Franklin's eyes went wide with panic. I slapped him with everything I had. "You're disgusting. Both of you." I shouted, chest seized. I couldn't breathe. The room tilted sideways. I collapsed, hitting the floor hard. When denial shattered like glass and I had to face what I'd known all along, I pulled myself off the floor and faced them both. My husband of 27 years. My daughter-in-law of 4 years. The two people who'd been destroying my family while I folded their laundry. 2 years means you were sleeping with her when she was pregnant with Emma, when she was nursing my grandson Oliver. Franklin's face hardened, the mask of concern dropping to reveal cold calculation. "Simone, you're being hysterical. Don't gaslight me. Not anymore. I'm done pretending I don't see what you are. I'm done making excuses for you." His expression shifted, his eyes narrowed. He realized I knew more than I'd let on. That I'd been watching too. That the stupid, trusting wife had been gathering evidence in her mind even as she pretended everything was fine. Callie touched his arm, a gesture so familiar it made my stomach turn. How many times had I seen that casual intimacy and told myself I was imagining things? "Franklin, maybe we should just tell her." "Tell me what? That you've been destroying my son's family? That you've been betraying your own children? That you've been using me to babysit while you sleep with my husband?" Franklin stood and straightened his tie. That's when I saw it clearly. The monster I had married for 37 years. The man who could sleep with his daughter-in-law in the home where his grandchildren lived and feel no shame. The man who could look me in the eye every single day and lie. "That you stopped being enough years ago," he said, his voice cold, clinical, like he was explaining a failed investment. "Callie understands ambition. She understands success. She understands what it takes to be with a man like me." The words still hit like bullets, even though I'd felt this for months, even though I had known, somewhere deep down, that he had stopped loving me years ago. Maybe he never really had. "She's married to your son. She's the mother of your grandchildren." It was practical, he said, and I wanted to laugh at the insanity of it. Like he was explaining a business merger, not destroying multiple lives. "She needed support with the kids. Elijah works too much. He's never home. I was there. I stepped up when he couldn't. I gave her what she needed." My phone buzzed insistently in my pocket. Once, twice, 3 times. I pulled it out with shaking hands. 3 texts from Elijah. "Mom, where are you? Kids are asking for you. Is everything okay? Mom, please answer." Then one from a name I hadn't seen in 15 years. A name Franklin had told me belonged to someone who'd cut us out of their life. "Aisha. Simone, I'm Franklin's sister. Your son hired me. Come to Starbucks on Maple Street. Now. Don't tell Franklin." I looked at Franklin, at Callie still in her yoga pants and messy bun, at the wreckage of everything I'd built. "I need air," I said, backing toward the door, the laundry basket forgotten on the floor. "Simone, don't you dare leave." Franklin started, his voice rising, control slipping. "Or what? You'll steal more from me? Forge more signatures?" "Oh yes, Franklin. I've known about the missing money too. I've known about a lot of things. I just wasn't ready to face them." His face went completely white. The blood drained from his cheeks. He hadn't expected that. He'd thought I was too stupid to check our accounts, too trusting, too weak. "I've been too afraid to confront you, but I'm not afraid anymore." I walked out, down the stairs, each step feeling like walking through water. Past the playroom where my grandchildren's toys were scattered. Past the photos on the wall of our happy family. Elijah's wedding day. Oliver's first birthday. Emma's newborn photo shoot. All of them lie. All of them staged moments of happiness built on betrayal. Behind me, Callie's voice cracked. "What do we do now? She's going to tell Elijah. She's going to ruin everything." Franklin's response followed me down the hall, through the foyer, out the front door. "She's bluffing. She doesn't know anything concrete. And she won't tell Elijah. She won't destroy the kid's family. She's too weak. She's always been too weak. She'll convince herself she imagined it, just like she always does." Wrong, Franklin. I was about to know everything. And weak? You were about to learn just how strong I could be when I finally stopped protecting you and started protecting the people who actually deserved it. I burst into the Starbucks, my heart pounding, my hands still shaking from what I'd just witnessed. The bell above the door chimed and I scanned the crowded coffee shop desperately. I found Aisha at a corner table in the back, away from the windows. She looked strikingly like Franklin, but softer, kinder. She had his dark eyes and strong jawline, but where his face had grown hard with secrets and cruelty, hers held warmth and something that looked like sadness. Elijah sat beside her, and the moment I saw him, I realized immediately that he already knew. His face was destroyed, hollow, like someone had scooped out everything inside him and left only a shell. Elijah stood when he saw me, and I saw he'd been crying. Not just recently, for a long time. His eyes were red and swollen, the kind of crying that comes from weeks of holding everything in. "Mom, this is Aisha, Dad's younger sister." I froze in the middle of the coffee shop. People were ordering lattes around us, typing on laptops, living normal lives while mine imploded. "Franklin said you moved to Seattle years ago, that you were estranged. He told you we were estranged?" Aisha looked genuinely surprised, almost sad about it. "He said you had a falling out years ago, that you'd chosen different paths and it was better if you didn't speak. I asked about you once, early in our marriage, and he got this closed-off look, said some relationships weren't worth saving. I never questioned it." Aisha's jaw tightened, a muscle jumping just like Franklin's did when he was angry. He cut me off when I refused to lie to him during his first affair. That was 18 years ago. We were married then. He called me and asked me to give him an alibi, to tell you he was with me when he was actually with another woman. I said no. I said I wouldn't be part of destroying your marriage. First affair. The words hit me like a physical blow. 18 years ago. We'd been married 19 years then. Elijah was 14. Bryn was 11. I was working night shifts at the hospital, exhausted, trusting, completely blind. He called me a self-righteous bitch, Aisha continued, her voice steady but her hands clenched on the table. He said I was dead to him, that if I ever tried to contact you or the kids, he'd destroy my reputation, my career, everything. So I stayed away. I've regretted it every day since. "I'm a private investigator, Simone," she said, her voice gentle now. "I specialize in financial fraud and infidelity cases. Elijah hired me 3 weeks ago." I looked at my son, really looked at him. The dark circles under his eyes, the way he'd lost weight, his wedding ring was loose on his finger, the tension in his shoulders like he was carrying the weight of the world. "You knew?" My voice was barely a whisper. Elijah's eyes were red, swollen, broken. "I've known for 2 months. I installed cameras in my house after I started suspecting. Hidden ones. In the living room, the kitchen, the hallway. I have videos, Mom, hours of them together, with my children in the next room. Oliver was playing with his trucks 10 feet away while they..." His voice broke. "While they destroyed everything." My legs gave out. I sank into the chair across from them, my purse hitting the floor, forgotten. "Why didn't you tell me?" The question came out like a sob. "Because I wasn't sure if you knew." He looked down at his hands, tears dripping onto the table. "I wasn't sure if you were part of covering it up to protect the family, to protect the kids. I've watched you, Mom. You've been different, quieter, sadder. I thought maybe you knew and had decided to just live with it. That stung worse than anything, worse than catching them, worse than the affair itself. You thought I'd protect him over you?" Tears streamed down his face openly now. "I didn't know what to think. You've been babysitting twice a week. You've been there, in my house with them. How could you not know? How could you not see what was happening under your nose?" "I suspected," I whispered, shame burning through me. But I was too scared to face it. I saw signs, so many signs. But I told myself I was protecting Oliver and Emma. I told myself that if I just ignored it, maybe it would stop. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was paranoid. Aisha spoke gently, leaning forward. "You weren't protecting them, Simone. You were enabling their destruction. Every day you stayed silent. You taught those children that this is what love looks like, that betrayal is acceptable, that lies are normal." The words hit like a slap across the face, but they were true. God help me, they were true. Aisha opened her laptop and I braced myself. "Let me show you everything. You need to see it all. No more pretending, no more looking away." Videos played on the screen. Franklin and Callie in Elijah's house, in my son's home, kissing in the kitchen where I'd made breakfast for my grandchildren, groping each other in the laundry room where I'd folded their clothes, his hands up her shirt, her hands in his hair, no hesitation, no guilt. The timestamp showed it was during my babysitting days, Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. They waited until I left with the kids. Waited until I drove away to take Oliver to the park and Emma to music class. Then, they descended on each other like animals. Photos at hotels appeared on the screen. The Riverside Hotel, the Grand Plaza, budget motels on the highway, restaurants 2 towns over where they thought no one would recognize them, his hand on her thigh under the table. She laughed at something he said, looking at him the way she was supposed to look at Elijah. It started 2 years ago, Aisha confirmed, pulling up a timeline she'd constructed. When Callie was 4 months pregnant with Emma, Franklin approached her first, started complimenting her, offering to help with Oliver, being attentive when Elijah was working late. Elijah made a sound like he'd been stabbed, a guttural noise of pure pain. "Is Emma even mine?" he asked, his voice breaking into pieces. "I need to know. Is my daughter even mine?" Aisha slid a DNA test across the table, with careful, deliberate movements. "I had it done discreetly. I got DNA samples from both kids during a playdate. Both children are yours biologically. Oliver and Emma are 100% your children." "Thank God," he breathed, his whole body sagging with relief. "Thank God, at least I have that, at least they're mine." Text messages appeared on screen next. Aisha had somehow accessed them all. "Franklin. Simone is watching the kids Tuesday. Come over after she leaves, I need you. Callie. What if Elijah comes home early?" "Franklin, he won't. He never does. He's too busy being the provider while I provide his wife with what she really needs. He's clueless. They both are." Elijah stood abruptly, his chair scraping loudly. He walked quickly to the bathroom. Through the bathroom door I heard him vomiting, my son emptying himself of the poison his father had fed him. While Elijah was gone, Aisha continued, her voice professional but her eyes sympathetic. "Franklin has been stealing from you, Simone. $60,000 over 6 months through forged signature authorizations on your retirement accounts." "I noticed," I admitted, shame flooding through me. 2 months ago I checked our accounts. The balance was wrong. I asked him about it. He made me feel stupid, showed me charts about market corrections, made me doubt my own memory." "But there's worse," Aisha said, and I didn't know how there could be worse. "He's also been stealing from Elijah." My blood ran cold. "Franklin is on Elijah's bank accounts. He set them up when Elijah was 18, just starting college. Joint accounts for emergencies," he said. "He's been taking money regularly, $25,000 over 2 years. Small amounts Elijah wouldn't notice immediately, 200 here, 500 there. Occasionally 1,000. "Does Elijah know?" I whispered. "He found out last week when he was gathering financial documents for the divorce. That's when he completely broke. That's when he called me in tears at 2 in the morning saying his father had stolen from him from his children while sleeping with his wife." She pulled up another document. A birth certificate. Zoe Bennett, March 15th of 2010. Father, Franklin Hayes. Mother, Vanessa Bennett. "He has a 15-year-old daughter from another affair," Aisha said. "Vanessa was a client. He seduced her, got her pregnant, paid her off to stay quiet. He's been sending her $1,500 a month for 15 years. That's where some of your retirement money went." I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. My husband had a whole secret child. A teenager who existed because of his betrayal. "Simone," Aisha said carefully, and I knew from her tone that whatever came next would somehow be even worse. "Franklin has been embezzling from his clients for at least 8 years, possibly longer. But that's as far back as we can definitively prove. $2.7 million from 43 client accounts. The FBI has been building a case for the last 6 months. They're waiting to make the arrest until they have every piece of evidence locked down." The numbers were too big to comprehend. 43 families. 43 people who trusted him with everything. Elijah returned from the bathroom, his face pale and clammy, his eyes haunted. He'd splashed water on his face, but it hadn't helped. He looked like a ghost. "I'm divorcing her," he said, his voice flat, emotionless. "I'm getting full custody of Oliver and Emma, and I'm pressing charges against Dad for theft. I want him prosecuted for every penny he stole from me." "There's more," Aisha said quietly, almost apologetically. "About Callie." There was always more. Callie has been embezzling from Whitmore and Associates. $200,000 over 18 months from client trust accounts. Money that belongs to people going through divorces, settling estates, vulnerable people who trusted her. She's a con artist who's done this before. In 3 other cities under different names. Photos appeared on screen. Callie with different hair colors, different styles, different men. Blonde in Portland calling herself Madison Clark. Brunette in San Diego as Callie Dawson. Redheaded in Phoenix as Emma Sullivan. Different hair, different names, same calculated smile, same predator's eyes. She targeted Elijah because Franklin told her to. It was his idea from the beginning. Elijah's face crumbled completely. What? Franklin introduced you two deliberately 4 years ago. She was already his mistress. They'd been together for 3 months. The whole thing was orchestrated. The marriage, the kids, all of it was their plan. Why? Elijah's voice broke on the word. Why would he do this to me? I'm his son. Access to your money, control, and Franklin gets to keep her close in the family without raising suspicion. You were the cover story, Elijah. Your marriage was their alibi. Her firm starts an audit in 2 weeks, Aisha continued. She knows she's about to be caught. That's probably why they've been getting more reckless. They're planning something. Maybe running, maybe disappearing with whatever money they can get. I looked at my son, at this broken man who used to be my happy little boy. What do we do? If you're still with me, subscribe right now, because what we planned next was the most satisfying revenge I've ever witnessed. Justice was about to be served on a family dinner table. Let me ask you this. If you discovered your child's spouse was a con artist planted by your own husband, would you expose them privately or publicly? Drop your answer in the comments because our choice changed everything. We exposed them, Elijah said, his voice cold, hard, nothing like my gentle son. Publicly, completely. I want everyone to know what they are. How? I asked. It's Sunday. We're supposed to have family dinner at your house tonight at 6. Everyone will be there. Every Sunday for the past 4 years we'd gathered at my house. Me, Franklin, Elijah, Callie, the kids. Sometimes Bryn would video call from London. It was tradition, it was family. We've prepared a presentation, Aisha said, turning her laptop toward us. Everything. The affair with timestamps and locations. The theft from both of you. The embezzlement from 43 clients. The FBI investigation. Callie's con artist history with photos and evidence from 3 different cities. Her current embezzlement. All of it. In front of the children? I asked, horrified. Oliver and Emma can't see this. They can't. The kids will be in the playroom upstairs with a babysitter we trust, Elijah said quickly. Sarah, my co-worker's wife, she doesn't know what's happening. She just thinks we need childcare during an adult dinner. But I want Callie's parents there. Franklin's business partners, our family friends. Everyone who thinks they're good people. Everyone who admires them. I want them all to see the truth. I've coordinated with Detective Dakota Jamie in financial crimes, Aisha explained. She'll be positioned outside your house. She'll arrest Callie the moment we're done. The FBI will arrest Franklin simultaneously. They've agreed to let us expose them first. They want the public spectacle. It helps their case when there are witnesses. Tonight? My voice shook. Is this happening tonight? Tonight, Elijah confirmed, and I saw steel in his eyes I'd never seen before. I can't spend one more day pretending. I can't sit at your table tonight and smile at them. I can't watch my children hug their grandfather knowing what he is. It ends tonight. We spent the next 3 hours planning every detail. I called Franklin from the Starbucks, stepping outside so he wouldn't hear the background noise, my voice carefully steady. Dinner is still on for tonight, 6 p.m., don't be late. Simone, about earlier, he started, and I could hear the manipulation in his voice, the way he was preparing to spin it. Not now, Franklin. We'll talk tonight. Actually, invite David and Angela from your firm, and maybe a few clients. Mrs. Patterson said she wanted to see you. I'm making your favorite pot roast. He was suspicious. I could hear it in his pause. Why the big dinner? Because we've been married 37 years and I want to celebrate. Is that a crime? He agreed, but I could hear the doubt in his voice. Elijah called Callie from across the table, putting the phone on speaker so we could all hear. Mom wants a big family dinner tonight. Her famous pot roast. Bring the kids at 6. Callie's voice was shaky, desperate. Elijah, we should talk. Your mom, she might have gotten the wrong idea about. Tonight, at Mom's, 6 p.m. Don't be late. He hung up before she could say more. Aisha contacted everyone else over the next hour. Callie's parents, Gregory and Catherine Clark, Franklin's brother Robert and his wife Harper, Franklin's business partners David and Angela, his elderly clients who trusted him, our neighbors, our friends. Everyone thinks it's a surprise celebration for your 27th anniversary, Aisha told me. I sent an email from a fake account asking everyone to gather for a special announcement. They all think you're renewing your vows or something romantic. Detective Jamie and FBI agents Riley Sawyer and Aubrey Torres would arrive at 6:30 after everyone was gathered and the truth was revealed. Aisha would control the presentation from her laptop connected to my TV. Are you sure? Aisha asked me one final time, her hand on mine across the table. Once we do this, there's no going back. Your marriage is over. Your family will never be the same. Those children will grow up knowing their grandfather and mother are criminals. I thought about my grandchildren. About Oliver, 3 years old, learning to ride a bike, laughing at cartoons, trusting everyone because his world was safe. About Emma, 18 months old, just learning to walk, reaching for me with chubby hands, calling me Gamma. I thought about the toxic home they were growing up in. About them learning that lies and betrayal were normal. About them growing up thinking their family was healthy when it was rotting from the inside. About them learning that you could destroy people and face no consequences. I'm sure, I said firmly. Let's save Oliver and Emma by destroying their parents' lies. Let's teach them that the truth matters, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. 6 p.m. arrived. My house began filling with unsuspecting guests, each one walking into a trap I'd helped set. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd spent months avoiding the truth, and now I was orchestrating its most public revelation. Franklin arrived first, punctual as always, the model husband. He kissed my cheek like nothing had happened, like he hadn't been caught with our daughter-in-law just hours earlier. Like 27 years of marriage gave him the right to that casual intimacy, even after everything. Smells wonderful, darling, he said, squeezing my shoulder. You've really outdone yourself. I forced a smile. Only the best for our family. Callie arrived minutes later with Oliver, 3 years old, and Emma, 18 months old. My grandchildren. My beautiful, innocent grandchildren, who had no idea their world was about to shatter into a million pieces. I hugged them tight, maybe too tight. Oliver squirmed. Gamma, you're squishing me. Sorry, baby, Grandma just loves you so much. Emma reached for me with her chubby hands. Gamma, Gamma up. I picked her up, inhaling that sweet baby smell, memorizing this moment before everything changed. They'd remember this night forever. Not the details maybe, but the feeling, the chaos, the fear. The night their family broke apart. The babysitter I'd hired, Sarah, a trusted friend of Elijah's coworker, arrived and smiled warmly. She had no idea what was about to happen. Hi, Mrs. Hayes. Ready for me to take these little ones upstairs? Yes, please. There are toys in the playroom, snacks in the kitchen if they get hungry. Thank you so much for coming on short notice. She took Oliver's hand and balanced Emma on her hip, heading upstairs. Oliver waved at me. Bye, Gamma. I waved back, my heart breaking. Callie's parents arrived next, beaming with pride. Gregory and Catherine Clark walked through my door, dressed in their Sunday best. Catherine held a bouquet of flowers and a wrapped gift. Simone, 27 years. You and Franklin are such an inspiration, Catherine gushed, kissing my cheek. In this day and age, seeing a marriage last is so rare. You've built something beautiful. If she only knew what her daughter had helped destroy. Franklin's business partners David Lee and Angela Mason came bearing expensive wine. David clapped Franklin on the back. 37 years with the same woman. Franklin, you old dog, what's your secret? Patience, Franklin said with a laugh. And knowing when to compromise. Compromise. The word made my stomach turn. His brother Robert and wife Harper arrived next. Robert pulled Franklin into a bear hug. Little brother, still can't believe you've been married longer than me. Franklin's mother Barbara came, moving slowly with her cane. Franklin rushed to help her to a chair. Mom, careful. Let me get you settled. My boy, she said, patting his cheek. So proud of you. Such a good man, such a good husband and father. Then Mrs. Dorothy Patterson arrived, His elderly client, 82 years old, insisted on attending when she heard about our celebration. She moved slowly with her walker, her daughter Camila supporting her elbow. She brought a card congratulating us on 37 years of marriage and a small gift wrapped in gold paper. "Franklin, dear," she said, her voice quavering with age and affection. "You've been such a blessing to me since Harold passed. Managing our money so well. I trust you like I trusted my own husband. You're like the son we never had." If she only knew Franklin had stolen over $100,000 from her account, from her late husband's legacy, from the money Harold had worked 50 years to save. Franklin hugged her gently. "Mrs. Patterson, you're family to me. I'd never let anything happen to you or your money." The lie came so easily to him. Everyone gathered in my living room, laughing, chatting, celebrating what they thought was love and commitment. I'd set out appetizers that no one was really eating. Wine flowed. Music played softly in the background. It looked like a party. It felt like a funeral. Franklin worked the room like the perfect husband. Charming, attentive, greeting everyone warmly, refilling wine glasses, asking about people's kids, their jobs, their lives, playing the role he'd perfected over 27 years. Kali played the devoted daughter-in-law, helping me in the kitchen, complimenting my cooking, asking if she could do anything to help. "Your pot roast smells amazing, Simone. You'll have to give me the recipe. Elijah loves when you make this." I wanted to throw the pot roast in her face. "It's all about the seasoning and patience," I said instead. "You have to let things simmer for a long time before they're ready." She had no idea I was talking about something else entirely. Elijah stood silent in the corner watching them perform. He held a glass of water and hadn't touched any wine. He needed to be clear-headed for what came next. He caught my eye across the room and I saw the question there. "Are you ready?" I nodded slightly. As ready as I'd ever be. At 6:25, I saw Aisha's car pull up outside. She came in through the back door, laptop bag over her shoulder, dressed professionally. Several guests glanced at her curiously. "Everyone, this is Aisha Hayes," Franklin said, his voice tight. "My sister. I didn't know you were coming." "Elijah invited me," Aisha said simply. "I thought it was time to reconnect with family." At 6:30 exactly, I stood and clinked my wine glass with a fork. The clear chime cut through the conversation. Everyone turned to look at me. "Thank you all for coming tonight," I said, my voice steadier than I expected. "Franklin and I have been married for 27 years, and I wanted to share this moment with the people who matter most to us." Aisha moved to the TV, connecting her laptop with practiced efficiency. "Actually," Elijah said, stepping forward from his corner, "before we celebrate, I have something everyone needs to see first. Something you all deserve to know." Confused murmurs rippled through the room. People shifted in their seats. Franklin's hand tightened on his wine glass. Franklin stood abruptly. "Son, what are you doing? Sit down, Dad." Elijah's voice was cold, harder than I'd ever heard it. "Everyone deserves to know who you really are, who you've always been." "Elijah, I don't think this is the time," Franklin started. "No, this is exactly the time. In front of everyone. No more secrets, no more lies." The first image appeared on my TV screen. Franklin and Callie kissing in Elijah's kitchen, his hands in her hair. She pressed against the counter. Timestamp in the corner, 3 weeks ago, Tuesday afternoon, 2:47 p.m., during my babysitting time. Callie's mother Catherine screamed, a high-pitched sound of shock and horror. More photos appeared in rapid succession. Videos. Franklin and Callie at hotels. In cars. In restaurants. Explicit text messages magnified for everyone to read. Franklin. "Simone is watching the kids Tuesday. Come over after she leaves. I need you." Callie. "What if Elijah comes home early?" "He won't. He's too busy working, being the good provider while I provide his wife with what she really needs. He's clueless." "My father has been having an affair with my wife for 2 years," Elijah said, his voice carrying to every corner of the room, "while she was pregnant with my daughter, while she was nursing my son, in my house, with my children in the next room." The room exploded. People shouting, standing, gasping, staring at the screen in absolute horror. Wine glasses hit the floor. Someone knocked over a chair. Callie was crying, denying everything, her voice rising to a shriek. "This is fake. This is edited. Someone hacked. Elijah, tell them this isn't real. Tell them." Franklin tried to move toward the door. Robert, his own brother, blocked his path. You're not going anywhere. Not until we see everything. It gets worse, Elijah continued, clicking to the next slide. Bank statements appeared showing Franklin's theft from me. Our retirement accounts, forged signatures circled in red like wounds. He stole from my mother using forged signatures, $60,000 from the woman he promised to love and cherish for better or worse. Then Elijah's accounts appeared. And from me, his own son, $25,000 over 2 years, small amounts he thought I wouldn't notice. David Lee grabbed Franklin's shoulder hard enough to leave bruises. What the hell have you done? You're my partner. You've destroyed our firm. Then there's Zoe, Elijah said, and clicked again. A birth certificate appeared on screen. Zoe Bennett. Father, Franklin Hayes. Mother, Vanessa Bennett. Date of birth, March 15, 2010. My father's 15-year-old secret daughter from another affair. A child he's been supporting for 15 years while pretending to be faithful, while sitting at our family dinners, while holding his grandchildren. Barbara, Franklin's mother, collapsed in her chair, her hand clutching her chest. Robert and Harper rushed to her side. Mom, breathe. Robert turned on his brother with pure rage in his eyes. You have a secret child? You let Mom go 15 years without knowing she had another grandchild? But the worst part? Elijah's voice turned to ice. The part that affects everyone in this room. FBI documents filled the screen. Official letterhead, case numbers, investigation summaries. My father has been embezzling from his investment clients for 8 years, $2.7 million stolen from 43 accounts. From people who trusted him with their retirements, their children's futures, their entire lives. Mrs. Patterson's face went white as paper. Her daughter Camila gasped, holding her mother steady. Client accounts flashed on screen one by one. Names everyone in the room recognized. Dorothy Patterson, $127,000 stolen. James Kowalski, $85,000 stolen. Margaret Chen, $63,000 stolen. People who'd trusted Franklin with their life savings, with their deceased spouse's legacies. That's a lie! Franklin screamed, his carefully maintained composure finally cracking. This is all fabricated. My son has had a mental breakdown. He's gone insane. Someone call. The doorbell rang. The room went silent. Every eye turned to the front door. I walked slowly across the living room and opened it. FBI agents Riley Sawyer and Aubrey Torres stood there in dark suits, badges out, faces grim. Franklin Hayes, FBI. You're under arrest for wire fraud, embezzlement, and money laundering. Franklin tried to run. Actually tried to run out the back door like a coward. He crashed into my kitchen table, sent the centerpiece flying, a vase of flowers shattering on the floor. The agents moved fast, professionally, and practiced. They had him face down on my dining room floor in seconds. They cuffed him while everyone watched. While his mother sobbed. While his brother swore. While his client screamed. You have the right to remain silent, Agent Sawyer said. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Mrs. Patterson struggled to her feet, her walker clattering. She moved toward Franklin with more speed than I'd seen from her in years. She actually spat in his direction, her elderly body shaking with rage and betrayal. You stole from me, from all of us, from Harold. He worked 50 years as a teacher. He saved every penny. He trusted you. I trusted you. You were like my son. Her voice broke. I hope you rot in prison. Now for my wife, Elijah said, his voice dead calm, emotionless, as Franklin was being led away in handcuffs. Financial records from Whitmore and Associates filled the screen. Callie has embezzled $200,000 from client trust accounts over 18 months. Money that belongs to people going through divorces, settling estates, dealing with the worst moments of their lives. Her boss, Zayden Whitmore, who I'd personally invited to this dinner, sat frozen in shock. That's impossible. We have safeguards. We have audits. She bypassed them all, Elijah said. For 18 months, until now. But she's not just a thief, Elijah continued, clicking to the next slide. Photos of Callie appeared with different identities. Blonde in Portland as Madison Clark, standing with a different man. Brunette in San Diego as Callie Dawson, wedding photo with another victim. Red-headed in Phoenix as Emma Sullivan, engagement ring on her finger from yet another mark. She's a professional con artist. This is her 4th marriage, 4th con. Different cities, different names, different men, same crimes. She marries, she steals, she disappears. And the worst part? Elijah's voice finally cracked, emotion breaking through. Franklin set us up. He introduced us deliberately 4 years ago. She was already his mistress. They'd been together for 3 months. My entire marriage was their plan from day one. The proposal, the wedding, the house, the children, everything was part of their con. Catherine Clark was screaming at her daughter. What have you done? What have you done to your life? Detective Dakota Jamie entered through my front door. Badge out. Callie Clark, you're under arrest for embezzlement, wire fraud, and identity theft across multiple states. Callie lunged at Elijah, wild, desperate. You're destroying our family. Think of the children. Oliver and Emma need their mother. You can't do this to them. I am thinking of them, Elijah said coldly, stepping back from her reach. That's why I'm removing their toxic criminal parents from their lives. That's why I'm teaching them that truth matters. Those actions have consequences. That love means honesty, not manipulation. If this story has you on the edge of your seat, subscribe now, because what happened to those children and how this family rebuilt itself will restore your faith in justice. This is a story about truth winning over lies, about protecting the innocent, about choosing courage over comfort. Here's my question for you. Would you expose your child's spouse publicly to protect your grandchildren, or handle it privately to spare them the trauma? Comment below, because this choice haunted me for months, and I still wonder if I did the right thing. Upstairs, through all the chaos and screaming, I heard Oliver start crying. His little voice, scared and confused, cutting through the adult mayhem. Mommy? Daddy? What's happening? I ran up the stairs as fast as I could, my heart breaking with every step. Sarah, the babysitter, stood at the top of the stairs, Emma on her hip, Oliver clutching her leg, both children crying. Mrs. Hayes, I don't know what's happening down there, but the kids are scared. It's okay, give them to me. You can go. I'll pay you for the full evening. I took Emma in my arms and knelt down to Oliver's level, pulling him close. Grandma, why is everyone yelling? Oliver's face was streaked with tears. It's going to be okay, baby. Grandma's here. I've got you. Everything's going to be okay. I want Mommy, Emma cried, reaching toward the stairs. Elijah came up moments later, his face pale but determined. He took his children in his arms. Oliver clung to him. Emma was crying, confused, reaching for her mother who was being handcuffed downstairs. They're coming home with me tonight, and forever, Elijah said, his voice steady. Downstairs, Callie was being led out in handcuffs, still screaming, still denying, still trying to manipulate, even as Detective Jamie read her rights. You can't take my babies. They're mine. Elijah, please. Please don't do this. Think about what you're doing to them. They need their mother. Watch me, Elijah said, but he didn't go downstairs. He stayed with his children, protecting them from seeing their mother's final moments of freedom. Emergency custody had already been arranged with Aisha's help earlier that afternoon. The evidence of the affair, the theft, the con, the danger to the children. It was enough for the judge to grant immediate temporary custody to Elijah. The court had seen the videos, the financial records, Callie's history of identity fraud across 3 states. They'd seen enough to know these children needed protection. Callie's parental rights would be challenged in court. Given her criminal history and the evidence of her character, the judge had already indicated he was likely to terminate them permanently. My grandchildren would be safe. Scarred, yes. Traumatized by this night? Absolutely. But safe from the toxic influence of 2 parents who'd been teaching them that lies and manipulation were acceptable. And I would be there. Every day. Helping Elijah raise them with honesty, with integrity, with love that meant truth instead of performance. This was the end of one family, and the painful beginning of a better one. Within hours, the video went viral. Someone at the dinner had recorded the whole thing. Franklin and Callie are both arrested at a family dinner. The footage spread across social media like wildfire. Millions of views, thousands of comments. Our family's destruction became the internet's entertainment. But I didn't care. Justice mattered more than privacy. Franklin's trial came 8 months later. He was convicted on all 43 counts. Judge Harold Thompson showed no mercy. 18 years federal prison. Callie took a plea deal. 5 years federal prison, full restitution to all victims, and complete termination of parental rights. She'd never see Oliver or Emma again. The court decided she was too dangerous, too manipulative. Elijah got full permanent custody of both children. I filed for divorce the morning after the dinner. I got everything: the house, the assets, his pension, full restitution for the forged thefts. Franklin's accounts were frozen, everything seized for victim restitution. He had nothing left. 6 months later, Asha called again. "There's more, Simone." I thought I couldn't be shocked anymore. I was wrong. Franklin has another family in Portland. Another family. The words didn't even make sense at first. Emerson Hayden. Married to Franklin for 12 years under the name Frank Hayden. 2 children, Jason, 10 years old, and Lily, 8. Bigamy. Another complete family he'd hidden. Another wife who thought she was the only one. Emerson and I met 2 weeks later at a coffee shop halfway between our cities. We sat across from each other, 2 wives destroyed by the same man. She was beautiful, younger than me, completely devastated. "I had no idea," she kept saying. "I had no idea you existed." Her children were heartbroken. Jason and Lily had grown up thinking their father was a tech consultant who traveled for work. They had no idea he was a bigamist in federal prison. Over the following months, Emerson and I formed an unlikely bond. We talked every week. Our pain connected us in a way nothing else could. 1 year after the dinner that destroyed everything, Sunday dinner at my house looked completely different. Elijah was there with Oliver, now 4, and Emma, now 2.5. Zoe, Franklin's 15-year-old secret daughter, had joined us. Vanessa, her mother, had reached out after seeing the news. Zoe needed a family who would tell her the truth. Emerson came with Jason and Lily. The kids played together, building something new from the wreckage of Franklin's lies. Bryn video called from London, her girlfriend Amelia beside her on screen. We gathered around the table, this impossible family built from ruins. Oliver looked around and asked, "Where's Daddy?" Elijah knelt down, looked his son in the eyes, completely honest. "Daddy made bad choices. He's in timeout for a very long time, but you have me, Grandma, and all these people who love you." "Okay," Oliver said simply. At 4 years old, he accepted it and went back to his toys. Emma toddled over to me. "Gamma." I picked up my granddaughter, this innocent baby who deserved so much better than what her parents had given her. "I got into MIT," Zoe announced suddenly, waving an acceptance letter. Everyone cheered. Elijah high-fived her. This brilliant girl who'd been hidden for 15 years was going to one of the best schools in the world. Jason, Emerson's son, asked quietly, "Is our dad ever coming back?" Emerson was honest, her voice steady. "In many years, but he's not really your dad anymore. Not in the ways that matter." "Good," Jay said firmly. At 10 years old, he already understood what Franklin was. We raised our glasses, apple cider for the kids, wine for the adults. "To the family we chose," Elijah said. "To survive," Bryn added from the screen. "To tell the truth," Zoe said. "To protect the innocent," Emerson contributed. "To never look back," I finished. We clinked glasses, this impossible collection of people. My son was healing, raising his children in honesty instead of lies. My grandchildren were learning that truth mattered more than appearances, that family meant honesty, not blood. 2 wives who'd become friends, bonded by shared betrayal, but stronger together. 5 children learned they were better off without their father. If this story moved you, subscribe right now and share it with someone who needs to know that families can survive anything when they choose truth over lies. One final question. After everything you've heard, do you believe some people are beyond redemption? Or does everyone deserve a second chance? Drop your answer in the comments, because I think about this every day. I looked around at this family I never expected to have. Franklin took 27 years of my life. He stole my trust, my retirement, my sense of safety. But he accidentally gave me something better, a real family built on truth instead of performance. Grandchildren I could help raise with integrity and honesty. A daughter-in-law in Emerson who understood my pain completely. A newfound sister in Aisha who'd been there all along. And the knowledge that I was strong enough to choose truth over comfort. Oliver climbed into my lap. "Gamma, tell me a story." "Once upon a time," I began, "there was a grandma who learned that telling the truth, even when it's hard, is the bravest thing you can do." "Did she save the day?" Oliver asked. "She saved her whole family," I said, kissing his forehead. Emma clapped her hands. Yay, Gamma! I was finally free. Not just from Franklin, but from the woman who'd been too scared to face reality, from the woman who'd enabled destruction to avoid confrontation. And my grandchildren were free too. Free to grow up in a home where truth mattered, where lies weren't tolerated, where love meant honesty. That was worth everything. Franklin was in prison, and I was free. And I was never, ever going back. If you enjoyed this story, like, subscribe, and share with others so they can learn too. See you in our next video.